perspective is huge in anything you do, whether you look at it, how you look at it, what angle you look at it. I think that's one of the most powerful things that you have as a human is just your perspective, the way you look at stuff. It matters. The way you look at shit, it matters so much on how it actually is.
Bam!
Welcome back to the True Underdog Podcast, Unleash the Power. I'm Jayson Waller, and we are back with another episode of True Underdog Classic, where I replay interviews from my True Underdog's early days. Now, today we're going back to my very first interview. That's right, Change the Course with NFL punter Sam Martin. He's a dear friend of mine. I love talking to Sam. He's got such a wonderful story. When I had Sam on the show, he's a punter for the Detroit Lions and now for the Denver Broncos, but he is a badass, and he's got a great story he'll share with you in this episode. He and I talk about how he became a football player and how he stays motivated and focused no matter what life throws at him. If you need a pick-me-up to turn your life around, you'll want to stay tuned. With that, enjoy the episode of True Underdog Classic, Change the Course with NFL punter Sam Martin. You are a really fun, high charismatic energy person. I always say when people say, hey, what's Sam like? I always say, this guy's really positive. He's a leader. He likes to share that energy. He brings the best out of people. You're exciting to be around, and usually punters, besides, yourself and the guy that's got his show now, McAfee. I mean, you two are kind of like the anomalies here. You guys are the ones that are literally different than everybody else. You guys, you were wearing your hat backwards in early years playing football and wearing it sideways and dancing on the field, where you don't see a lot of that from punters. They're kind of there's this mystique about them, oh, here comes the punter, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's, specialists, I think that's a reputation that specialists will never live down, even when it's completely dead. I mean, I don't think it's completely dead yet. We still got a couple to fit that stereotype pretty well out there, but I think a lot of guys, nowadays it's changing. You're getting not changing. It's been like this for a while, but you're getting athletes that are punters. These are normal dudes growing up who are point guards or quarterbacks and punters, and it's becoming more of not. It's become a little not as frowned upon a position. Guys are doing it at high levels because of their athletic ability.
Sam, speaking of athletes, this is what I think about every time a punt happens on the field. How often do you catch the ball and get ready to punt and just want to take off running?
Man, it's happened more than once, but that's a easy way to get a ticket right out of town. Honestly, there's been punters in the past who have done it. The team. Steve Weatherford was a guy. You might know Steve. Steve is another one of those guys. Jayson, who's big in the internet game podcast, and he's a huge fitness guy now. Real big time athlete, and he when he was playing, he used to do that. He'd peek up, and if he saw room, he'd take off. But for me, really, we're up time's about 1.3 seconds to catch the kick about 1.9. So you don't have much time to kind of observe. Am I going to get hit? Take off? Do I have to punt it? So it's not as often as you think.
Well, that's good stuff. I can't accomplish much in 1.9 seconds, so I'm glad that you can catch the ball and kick it in 1.9 seconds. I'm like, what just happened? So
you got a lot of kids.
I do. Roberto says I have a lot of kids. I don't even know if that lasted 1.9 seconds, Roberto. I'm just being honest. I played the fifth. So that's not good. So, and the wife may agree with you. It might be less than 1.9 seconds. Unfortunately.
Oh, no.
There goes. We had an episode where I was talking about that, I'm a grandpa, but I'm a good-looking grandpa, so I'm a gilf. I think that gilf just went out the window, and they're going to change it to speed. So whatever happens. But I do want to ask you this, Sam. So, growing up, where were you raised? What was it like, being Sam Martin, growing up as a kid? What kind of things did you have to overcome? And really, what inspired you to play football? Because I know a little bit of the story, and I know you didn't always play football. So can you enlighten some of the listeners here of kind of what that background is and your come-up is?
Yeah, so just straight up, my family, I come from a soccer family. I have two older sisters. I was the youngest of three. So I was the only boy, and I was the youngest. Talk about overcoming adversity right there. I started out right there. 2 older sisters. So I get going, and naturally I become a soccer player. It was a big family thing, and started playing at a very young age, and get to, I played basketball and baseball and soccer through middle school. And then in high school, I just was playing soccer and basketball. Pretty much made my mind up. I thought I was going to the NBA my whole life, and I realized, I got hit with reality pretty quick.
You thought you were going to the NBA? I mean, I've seen you shoot. You're not much better than me. Did I miss something?
He is so much better than you. We played horse the one time.
I thought you win when you get horse. Okay.
That was a little bit of a joke there.
I know. Go ahead. So you thought the NBA, and you said no. Go ahead.
My whole life, I thought I wanted to go to the NBA, but soccer was always kind of my thing. So anyways, I played soccer at a pretty high level, a competitive level, all the way through high school. I had a bunch of offers as a junior in high school for soccer, and ended up actually committing. I was planning on playing soccer in college. The football team always had wanted me to come out and kick, because obviously my soccer background, I was like, you're crazy. So I go out there my senior year. Finally, I was committed to Georgia State at this time, so I decided, screw it, why not? Let's just go do this. So, little small story within a story, actually. So I show up to my first day, and they give me a black jersey. The whole defense is in black jerseys, and I'm like, "The hell is this?" All right, I'll put it on there. I go out there, number 27. Sure enough, they got me lining up in the secondary trying to play safety. So what the hell is this? So it took about 3 practices for me to realize, hell no. I was like, I'm out. I'm either kicking or nothing. And so it turns out, I start kicking and kicking field goals, kicking off, and I start getting calls from colleges and big schools. A lot of the soccer schools are smaller schools, so I'm getting like Auburn, Georgia. I'm going to these visits to Ole Miss and stuff like that. And it's really eye-opening to me. I'm like, this is different. This is new. This is cool. It kind of lit a fire under me a little bit and kind of motivated me in a sense. And long story short, I ended up deciding on signing day, I bailed on soccer and took a leap of faith on this kicking thing, and then the rest is kind of history.
Wow. That's amazing.
And the school you chose, right? You went there. Were you the starter moment one? How did that go down?
No. So that's a good question. So I go into Appalachian State, and I was actually the first kicker in school history that they scholarshiped at a high school. So I kind of came with a little hype. And, App State's ends up being, it's not UGA. It's not these schools I was visiting, but it was a school I liked, and they were the only ones that offered me a scholarship. The bigger schools were just offering me recruited walk-on. So I said, let's give it a go. So I go up there as a kicker. It kind of made a big deal about them going up there, and I'm getting all that attention. So I go in there to camp. First camp thinking, I go in there as a starter thinking that I got this, and I laid an egg. I was terrible. I looked awful. I was barely getting kicks over the offensive line. It was bad. I was hitting every kickoff out of bounds. It was embarrassing, actually. The coaches I remember the coaches literally saying to me, what a waste of a scholarship. Like, what the hell, you're terrible. I remember like it was yesterday.
They said that to you, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. What a waste of an effing scholarship. You effing suck. Like, go back to Georgia.
I bet that lit a fire in the belly, right?
Yeah. I mean, it did. And, thinking about that even, like, at the time, you think about it, and it's like, they're really, are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Okay. All right. Well, so it fucked me up a little bit. I went into like a little bit of a shell, if you will. It was just like, I felt bad for myself. This isn't what's supposed to happen. This is bullshit. So the senior who ended up being the starter, I ended up being pretty good. I ended up being pretty good friends with, and he had a hell of a season. And meanwhile, I get redshirted. Or no, he wasn't a senior; he was a junior. I ended up getting redshirted that year, and I'm like, this sucks. Why the hell I came all up there to BFE, North Carolina, to kick footballs. I miss my family, blah, blah, blah. So long comes the short, I think he had a great season. So going to the next year, he's the starter. And I'm like, great. I'm not going to beat this guy. What the hell am I doing? But then through all that bullshit and all that comes an opportunity. And that's when the team sat me down. They said, learn how to punt. And so I said, all right, I'll give this punting a try. I never punted before in my life.
So as a sophomore in college, you decided to learn to punt.
Yep.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. I thought you were a punter all along. I didn't realize you were. So when you were saying you were barely getting them over the line, you were kicking field goals?
Yeah. And I mean, really, there's more to there's more to that than just that. I wasn't that bad. I had been lifting weights like I've never lifted in my life. I didn't lift shit in high school. So they were breaking me and then expecting me to go kick field goals, which is a whole different story. But nonetheless, I was terrible. I was bad. I wasn't prepared, whatever you want to call it. And so I guess the obvious moral of the story there, is like, at the time it was like, holy shit, what the hell's happening? Why am I here? What I do, blah, blah. And through all that, through all the adversity, through all the bullshit, through all the depression, negativity, I want to quit, I want to leave, I want to transfer, blossom this opportunity that now, going into my 8th year in the NFL as a punter. It all stemmed from me sucking as a kicker.
Now, a quick word from our sponsors.
So you had your back against the wall, felt like you had no options. They're telling you suck. You shouldn't have had the scholarship. This guy's out kicking you. You're having regrets. You're missing your family. You're in BFE, North Carolina. I know where Appalachian State is. I'm a fan. But then out of all that, you say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to learn to punt, and I'm going to be the best punter out here and earn my scholarship and be a starter.
Yep. I mean, that's how it went down. And I wasn't a great punter at first. That's for damn sure. It's actually kind of funny if you look at my college stats. I'm like sucky next year, kind of sucky. Third year, like kind of good, and then fourth year, elite. And then I get drafted. So it's like it definitely didn't happen overnight. It took some time to actually get it down and learn the craft and the art and everything with it. But it definitely was like, I was like, shit, I'm here now this far. I even thought about going back and walking onto the soccer team at App State, just saying screw football. But at that point, I kind of made my mind up that, like, I'm going to at least give this a shot. So, yeah, it's just crazy. It's actually, even when I sit here and talk about it and, like, think back about it, it's pretty crazy.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, you think you're casted for one thing, and you're supposed to do one thing in your life that you're pretty good at, and you're like, wow, I got this. And then you get your back to a wall, and everybody telling you all the negative stuff, and you feeling that, it becomes fuel, and you realize, look, that's not even my calling. I'm better here.
Yeah.
This is what a great way to adapt and change your whole entire map. I always talk about, on our show to the listeners, like, look, we write our own map, and here's Sam Martin that has a map, and all of a sudden it's got a dead end. And rather than quit and go backwards on that map, you damn opened up the book and wrote a new line and went down that route on the map. And as you're climbing uphill and getting better and better, here you are, successful, one of the elite punters in the NFL. I mean, that's a heck of a story of not only being motivated and overcoming things, but really taking direction and power into your own hands to be able to adjust what your future is. A lot of people struggle with, oh man, this is what I'm supposed to do. Or in sports, I've never played any pro sports, but I've coached kids, and I've had parents tell me my kid's a quarterback or my kid's this, and I can only imagine as they become elite athletes, they're stuck in one mindset. Julian Edelman comes to mind, plays quarterback in college and then converts over to receiver in the NFL. And here's Sam Martin that plays soccer his whole life, and then in high school says, hey, this is pretty cool, and starts kicking and is great, gets a scholarship. Doesn't work. They're complaining. You're not the best one. You're struggling, and then you just rewrit the script, dog. That's crazy. You just flipped it and said, "Here, this is going to be my future." So that's good stuff, John. What do you think about that?
No, that's great. I mean, how quick of a decision did you have to make? I mean, was kicking something that you quickly gave up on, or I mean, did you continue to try kicking a little bit, or was it like?
That's a good question. That's a good question because I ended up finishing my career doing all three: kicking field goals, punting, and kicking off. So
wow.
I did about I think a total of maybe 2 or 2.5 years doing all three, and then 4 years punting and kicking off. The 2 years my senior year they had a starter, so I went into my senior year. I did all three for all of my junior year. And then they had a kicker come in. At that point, I was starting to get a little bit of attention from the NFL, and it was as a punter. So they signed a kid a transfer came in who was a pretty good field goal kicker. So he started the year as the field goal kicker. Things kind of went south, so then I picked it back up. So I finished my career doing all three there. So I didn't stop doing it. I still did it. I still did it a lot. But it was as soon as I kind of started blossoming as a punter, it kind of turned into, okay, I'm going to do this punter kickoff combo thing. Let me know if you need me to kick field goals type thing, like when if needed.
I love that story. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's cool. And, another thing, Jayson, on your point that you were talking about, how back against the wall and stuff, but also, another thing when I look at that and like reflect on it and think about it is, when times are dark and shit's tough, it's always going to get better. Something's going to come out of it. It's not just learning from your lesson and doing better. It's also a sense of just relax, like just chill out, weather the storm. Something beautiful is going to come out of this. Something good is going to come out of this. There's something better. This isn't it type thing, So that's kind of just something always.
That's what I was talking about your positive outlook. I always preach to people like glass is half full or half empty, and you're one of those folks, Sam, that you see things and you're like, nah, I got this. I'll figure it out. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and I've had to, there's been times where there's been times since I've been in the NFL where I've kind of felt like that way. I felt that my red shirt or my true freshman year, whether it be from coaches or fans or a bad game or whatever, that shit doesn't stop. But I've had that situation from college that I can revert back to and realize, okay, I've been here before. This is how I handled it. It's all good. I'm gonna be fine. You know what I mean? So it's not just weathering it and dealing with it and handling it. It's like using it because it's going to happen again and learn and reverting back to it, like what worked. So that's I've been fortunate, to not have a lot of really tragic incidents and stuff that I've had to overcome in my life. Thank God. I'm very blessed in that sense, but. When shit like that, stuff like that can be life-changing, kind of do or don't, make or break type instances, I've learned to learn from that stuff and be able to reflect back on stuff, and it's not just be a one-time incident. It's something that I'll always, it's a part of me. I've learned from it.
That's powerful stuff, Sam, and I appreciate you sharing that story. I mean, there's people right now listening to this in this exact moment that they're at a roadblock. They're at a crossroads. They don't know what to do, and the hardest thing is to give some self-talk and some positive talk and work your way out of it. And I think you did that, and your experience over time with overcoming those things help you deal with some of the shit, so to speak, that you talk about now. Overcoming some of the stuff and things that you got to deal with on a much larger scale, really.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's all relative, and perspective is huge in anything you do. Whether you look at it, how you look at it, what angle you look at it. And, I think that's one of the most powerful things that you have as a human is just your perspective, the way you look at stuff. It matters. The way you look at shit, it matters so much on how it actually is. There's a reality aspect of it that I feel. So just always trying to keep myself in the right perspective, really.
Now, let's hear from our sponsors.
One question for you, Sam. The very first time you saw Jayson Waller shoot a basketball,
go ahead, finish up.
I just want to know your thoughts on it.
You know what? It was. I didn't know if he was being serious. I didn't know if it was a running jump shot hook shot. I wasn't sure what we were doing.
Listen, God gives us all attributes, right? We all get 100. Some are tall, some are short, some people are fat, some people are skinny, some people are fast, some people can shoot a basketball, some people can punt a ball and kick a field goal and do kickoff returns and have great dogs, and some of us can just sell, baby, sell. That's what we got to do. So you got to know what your gifts are. And, kudos to you. You found out, dude, I've got these other skill sets. And I was able to create that and catch fire and really do some great things. And, I think that story in itself is something that everyone in life, whether you're in school and you're struggling with, I really want to be on this team, but I want to play this position and I'm scared to try something else, or hey, I'm at this job and I'm grinding and I'm not getting anywhere, but maybe there's an opportunity that's equal or less, but it's a better road for me to really better myself and better my family. Or you're opening a business and you're scared and it's not working and maybe you're doing the wrong thing. And I always say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and getting the same result, right? So kudos to you, man. Like when you see that horse come by, you got to jump on it. When you see like, wow, I can do this, you got to take fire and enjoy that ride and ride it till the wheels fall off. You can't sit in a hole and make excuses or complain or bellyache, because there's always someone bigger, better, faster, smarter, better salesperson, better looking, can do the job better. And you've got to find your own skill sets and have the confidence and the willpower to really adjust it and then take it on head on and write your own map. So kudos to you for that. Now, on the basketball thing, I will say this. I think I won because I got to pick the fastest out of all of us a couple times.
I'm pretty sure you did win at least one game. I don't know how, but I think it got real dark out or something, and I don't know.
I'll say this. I mean, I can't believe that you didn't do well. I mean, with the blonde hair.
Oh my God!
The only thing you're missing is if you just shave the beard.
Oh God!
You look like a young Larry Bird. You got the mustache. You got the.
He probably had the coolest shoes on too on the court.
You grow that nice stash. You got there. You go, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. I was gonna say Larry Bird or Dennis Rodman.
Hey, look,
Larry Rodman.
Larry Rodman. Here's what I can say. Right, the hair is in, fellas. Don't hate. You're bald. You're wearing a hat. Sam, you're in California. I'm gonna leave your hair alone.
I'm balding too.
Yeah. Sam's balding. Let me tell you something. I was balding. And I went blonde. Blonde hides that shit. That's a fact. Smart. I bleached it blonde, and I look like I've got 50% more hair. Period.
All right, well, you'll know why. Well, you'll know why I'm blonde the next time you see me.
It works, man. It works. It's a new look, baby. It's for the let the sun shine in stuff, dude.
The gilfs.
It's for the it's the gilf with speed, baby. The gilf with speed. I can't shoot a basketball, but damn it, I'm quick.
There you go.
That's true.
All right. Well, hey, so I see you're having a good off season. I wish you the best, brother, and I appreciate you getting on this show and really sharing your story. I think it's important that people realize, we talk about this, that you guys just aren't football players. That is just your job, that everything is so much bigger than that. And that's not what defines you guys. And hearing your story and how you've adapted and things that you've overcome, that's what makes you who you are in life. And after football, there's so much more life after that. And in the off season, and when you're not playing. And I think a lot of the fans forget and to realize that, athletes they have lives. This is just a job, and that's not what defies them. And we had that conversation with Tavon not too long ago, and it's similar. I mean, we're always trying to make sure that people can relate and see the human side of what really goes on and the struggles, that people, have to overcome to get where they're at, that nothing's just given to anybody,
Yep, no doubt, man. It's true. And I think what you guys are doing with the podcast is awesome. It's really cool, and I've been listening to them, and I'm happy to be on here. I appreciate you guys having me. And after football, I just hope that my job, I got a desk sitting somewhere with my name on it over at Power Home Solar.
Baby, you do. I got hey,
you and your dog.
Position.
I'll tell you. As long as Leo might have something, but you could work for Leo.
Okay, all right, that works.
Okay,
as long as he's paid well.
There you go. Well, hey, Sam, I really appreciate it. God bless, brother. Take care, and we appreciate having you on the podcast. Bam. And that concludes another episode here on True Underdog. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you subscribe at iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube channel. You can always visit TrueUnderdog.com, subscribe to all of them. Make sure you check out our newest episodes coming out on Mondays and Thursdays. True Underdog, baby. Bam!